Do you have time for a funny story?
Yeah, we got about a minute.
I get this one done in a minute. So every once in a while, I was always his partner. So we'd always ride together. He always wanted me to drive because he wanted to be smoking cigars. So one day we're driving, and these paparazzi are driving us crazy. They're taking pictures, they're taking pictures, they're taking pictures. And he said, Giuliani, what did you do now? They're all following you around. You know how I hate pictures taken? I know you're famous, but damn, can't you tell him to stay away? And he's like growling. And I say, you just come up to the green with me. Come on. So on the green is Michelle Wie, and she's getting ready to putt. Now, Michelle Wie is gorgeous. She's 6 feet, and she has a strange putting stance. She bends all the way over, and her panties show. And the press was going crazy. They were following her all around because they were trying to take pictures of her panties. I said, Roger, it's not me, it's not you, it's her panties. Right? Is that okay to tell that joke? I'm not sure.
We already told it, so I don't know.
Sometimes I wonder why there aren't more conservative comedians, and then I listen to a, quote, funny story like this one by Rudy Giuliani, and then suddenly it makes sense. Here Giuliani was trying to pay tribute to Rush Limbaugh by recounting what was clearly a treasured memory where they were perverted together. And to be honest, it's a pretty fitting tribute given the depravity of Rush Limbaugh. Consider too that LPGA star Michelle Wie was 25 years old at the time of this charity golf tournament, while Giuliani was about 70 years old. But sure, let's keep pretending that the Republican Party is the party of family values. One of its most recognizable faces is a thrice married, thrice divorced, 76-year-old man whose idea of a hilarious time was when he was looking at the underwear of a girl 50 years younger than him. Although, in Giuliani's defense, he might be better than the guy who actually led the Republican Party and arguably still leads it right now. Trump was also thrice married, but he has the distinct honor of also having been caught writing a $130,000 check to buy the silence of Stormy Daniels, the porn star he had an affair with while his wife was at home pregnant with their son Barron. Just those good old-fashioned conservative family values at work. Also, just look at Steve Bannon and his other guest, former Missouri Governor Eric Greitens' faces while Giuliani is telling this joke.
So on the green is Michelle Wie, and she's getting ready to putt. Now, Michelle Wie is gorgeous. She's 6 feet, and she has a strange putting stance. She bends all the way over, and her panties show. And the press was going crazy. They were following her all around because they were trying to take pictures of her panties.
If you can make Steve Bannon cringe, you might want to walk it back a bit. As for Greitens, he might have another reason altogether to not want to be associated with such hilarity, and that's because his claim to fame was an affair he had with his hairdresser, who testified under oath that he was violent with her during sexual encounters, and that he took photos of her while semi-nude and blindfolded to use as blackmail if she ever told anyone what he'd done. She also testified that he coerced her into performing oral sex, and that he slapped her when she told him that she'd been intimate with her estranged husband. He was indicted by a grand jury, but the charges were later dropped before the case could go to trial. So yeah, not exactly an ideal situation for your image rehab to align yourself with yet another pervert. And if you needed to better understand why Giuliani thought this would be a good tribute for Limbaugh, consider that this was his brand of comedy.
In this commercial, he is exaggerating the effects of the disease. He is moving all around and shaking, and it's purely an act. This is the only time I have ever seen Michael J. Fox portray any of the symptoms of the disease he had. He can control himself enough to stay in the frame of the picture, and he can control himself enough to keep his eyes right on the lens, the teleprompter. But his head and shoulders are moving all over the place. So this is really shameless, folks. This is really shameless of Michael J. Fox. Either he didn't take his medication or he's acting.
Yeah, quality stuff. The point is that while the GOP hides behind its platitudes, it doesn't actually live up to any of those values. And it's not just being pro-family values, which is clearly not in the cards anymore. It's their claims of being pro-life, while the former president and his party oversaw a pandemic response that led to nearly 500,000 dead Americans, one of the biggest mass casualty events in US history. It's their claims of being pro-police, while the Trump-inspired mob bludgeoned a cop to death and threatened the lives of hundreds more on January 6th. It's claims to be pro-states' rights, all while trying to disenfranchised the voters of Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Georgia, and Michigan because they weren't happy with who those states' voters chose. It's claiming to be pro-fiscal responsibility while having added $7.8 trillion to the national debt in just the last 4 years. So Republicans might have some romanticized idea of their brand, but it doesn't even come close to resembling them in reality. What I'm trying to say is simple. When Republicans show you who they are, believe them. While you're here, please check out my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen. I take a deep dive into the top stories of the week, and I also interview major players in the world of politics, like Kamala Harris, Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi, Pete Buttigieg, Katie Porter, Al Franken, Cory Booker, Jamie Harrison, Mary Trump, and many more. Again, that's No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, available anywhere you listen to podcasts.